This is my rendition of Too Many Tamales by Gary Soto. It was a beautiful snow outside, and the Christmas tree lights were glittering in the window. Maria finally peeled herself off the glass and went back to the kitchen counter, where she was helping her mother make tamales. She was happily kneading the dough, and she felt so mature because she was wearing her mother's apron, and she was even wearing lipstick and perfume. The only thing she thought she was missing was her mother's ring. She loved that diamond ring and the way it glittered like Christmas tree lights. And when her mother left the room to go answer the phone, Maria couldn't help herself. She wiped her hands off on the apron, looked over her shoulder to make sure the door was closed, and took her mother's ring off the counter and put it on her thumb to admire it. Then she went back to kneading the masa, pumping her hands up and down, the ring disappearing and reappearing in the sticky dough. When her mother came back into the room and took the bowl away from Maria, she told Maria to go get her father to have him help finish making the tamales. And all three of them worked together, Maria and her mother spreading the dough out onto the corn husks, and her father putting a dollop of meat and folding the tamales closed. And they put them in a giant pot where they were cooking, and the steam coming out of it smelled delicious. Later on, the rest of her family came over, her grandparents, aunt, uncle, and cousins, Dolores, Teresa, and Danny. And Maria grabbed Dolores' hand and ran upstairs. Danny and Teresa followed, and all of them were happily cutting out pictures from magazines of things they hoped were presents for them downstairs. When all of a sudden a shock went through Maria. "The ring!" she cried. The others looked at her surprised. "What ring?" And she didn't answer. She just went downstairs back to the kitchen. The others followed behind her. "It must be in one of these tamales," she said, when she saw the giant steaming plate of 24 tamales. "Help me," she said to her cousins. And Danny was the first to speak up. "What do you want us to do?" "Eat them," she said. "The ring must be in one of them. If you bite into anything hard, tell me." And so the four of them started eating the tamales. The first one was good. The second one was pretty good. But by the third one, they were getting tired of the taste. "Keep eating," Maria scolded. And so they kept going till their stomachs hurt, and there was finally one tamale left. "This must be it," Maria thought. "Everybody take a bite from this one together. Danny, you go first." Danny, being the youngest, didn't argue. He took a bite. Nothing. Dolores took a bite. Nothing. Teresa took a bite. Still nothing. And finally it was Maria's turn. She took a deep breath and slowly, gently bit into the last mouthful of tamale. Nothing. "Did one of you bite into something hard?" she said. And Danny said, "I don't know if I bit into anything hard, but I think I swallowed something hard." "Swallowed it?" Maria said. She looked in his mouth. She couldn't believe that her mother's ring might be in her cousin's throat, or worse, his belly. But she knew she had to tell her mom. So she went into the living room where all the adults were sitting and talking and having a good time, and she didn't know how to interrupt them. Then she went up to her mom and tugged on her sleeve. "What's the matter?" her mother said. "I did something wrong," Maria sobbed. "What?" her mother asked gently. And Maria was about to tell her mom about the diamond ring when all of a sudden she gasped. There, on her mother's finger, was the ring, glittering like always. "The ring!" Maria cried. "You were playing with it?" Maria's mother said, smiling gently. "I wanted to wear it," Maria said. And then she told her mother how they'd eaten all the tamales. "Well, I guess we're going to have to bake another batch," Aunt Rosa said. And when they all went in the kitchen to make more tamales, Maria still felt like crying, and a tear fell off of one of her lashes onto her finger. There it sat glittering like a jewel. Aunt Rosa nudged Maria in the elbow, said, "Hey, Nina, don't worry. Everyone knows the second batch is better." And in the corner of the room, Danny, Teresa, and Dolores let out a groan the size of 24 tamales. And Maria couldn't help herself. She laughed, and soon everyone was laughing. And Maria went back to kneading the masa, and when she did, the teardrop disappeared.